welcome to Poptoberfest. That's right, some chills, thrills, and some horrors. Misery from 1990, a movie I have not watched in years. Hadn't I given it a fair shake? Obviously, it's not in my rotation, and I have to be honest, I was so pleasantly surprised. I mean, Kathy Bates' performance won her an Oscar, but I have to admit, it was even more magnificent than I remembered. She is fantastic. The Stephen King novel comes to life with obviously some significant changes, but between Kathy Bates and James Caan, man, they completely destroy the screen. It is completely nuts. So yeah, James Caan plays this writer, Paul Sheldon. He writes about this character called Misery. His final novel that's getting ready to land actually kills the character off. He's written this novel. He's going to go through his rituals of what he does, and in the drive, he ends up in this horrible car accident. The Mustang goes flying over the side of the cliff and rolling and rolling and rolling. And when he wakes up, he's rescued and he wakes up and he looks like this. And what is he faced with? He's faced with, that's right, Annie Wilkes, his number one fan, as she says over and over again. And she's there to take care of him and nurse him back to health, presumably. So the film actually kind of proceeds very, very well, but giving you all the pieces that you need to bond to Annie and bond to Paul. Not quite sure exactly how things are going to play out if you're not familiar with any of the source material. I would love to see some first reaction videos to something like someone who's not familiar with the novel, maybe not even familiar with Stephen King, to kind of feel what works and what doesn't work. All right, as Paul is recovering here, he's starting to piece together that something's quite not right. And he does have these outbursts and he develops this sort of like intrigue and escape plans. He finds a bobby pin to unlock the door when she leaves. And he basically understands that even though that blizzard is let up, she's not calling for help. In fact, she uses this all as a manipulation tool, destroys the book that he had just finished, and then forces him with a typewriter and paper to write a new book, bring Misery back to life. And here in the film, we see things get tense and more tense and crazy and unstable. And he's like not quite sure how to do what he was. What is he going to do to get away? How is he going to survive these kinds of things? She's getting crazier and crazier, and it is really really engaging. The police, of course, presume that he's dead. He's frozen out in the ice somewhere. This is her worship mantle of him with all the books and a photo. Of course, things do get to kind of turn a little sideways when she actually finally reads the book and she finds out what actually happens to her beloved character. And she kind of turns sideways on Paul whenever she finds out he's been sneaking around, not doing what she thinks is right. And this is where the story gets very unnerving. Now, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who's never seen this movie. I have to be honest, the book was actually shocking. The hobbling, which is what this film is known for, is significantly worse than the book. Stephen King has a much more trauma description and details of what actually makes it on screen, which would have been completely horrifying. I mean, I can't even imagine. This was rough enough as it was. So, this is a film that held up way better than I thought it would. This is a very rewatchable film. I was actually quite surprised. I think it's because everything rides on those performances. Rob Reiner, who is known for obviously other films like Princess Bride, really did a great job. He leaned into his sort of Hitchcockian love and rewatching those movies. And there's definitely whole shots and whole segments of things that are kind of lifted right out of that love for someone like Hitchcock. And I will say, this is a great thing that really elevates his resume for me. I mean, I hold the guy in great regard, but he has a string of movies that are from 86 on here. Stand By Me, Princess Bride, Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. Now, he kind of derails a few here and there, but that's a really incredible run of 5 movies in a row that to me are exceedingly rewatchable and fun. Definitely different genres, different dynamics, different characters and performances. He does a lot of things. So that is the peak of his career, in my opinion, even though there are several other things that I think are highs and lows. Now, with all that said, everything rides on Kathy Bates' performance, and to a completely significant is James Caan, who obviously took this role when many other actors were offered this part and didn't want to do it. They don't want to lay in a bed, they don't want to lay around like this. He is so good in his performances. It totally is going to be overlooked and overshadowed by how great she is. So, love your thoughts on this and other Stephen King movies. This is kind of my leaning into the Halloween and October type theme of things, where this is a film I just hadn't watched for a while. I don't know that I consider it it's almost more thriller and suspense than it is like a horror movie, even though it would probably count as a horror genre in some ways. To me, it's more like a psychological thriller. It's definitely more Hitchcockian than anything like that. But kudos to everyone involved to getting this done. I can't tell you enough good things about this movie. Like I said, it had some nominations because of her and her performance and his performance as well. But I think the script is great. William Goldman does a great job with the screenplay. I think that it captures all of the elements. It moves exceedingly fast. I think Goldman is one of those writers who probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves for a script like this because it's overshadowed by other. Because he did Butch Cassidy and Sunday Kids, which is probably his biggest screenplay. Got an Oscar for that. Obviously, he did Princess Bride. Worked for Reiner on that. He worked on I think All the President's Men. So he has a great resume of stuff. So I think something like Misery doesn't really make the radar screen, but really should, really good stuff. So love your thoughts. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.